Welcome back to another episode of Right Here in Mass. Joining me today is Obi Ibeto, the founder and CEO of ShieldForce Corporation, a cybersecurity company specializing in AI-driven security solutions, purpose-built for healthcare organizations, home health agencies, community health centers, and regulated small and mid-sized businesses. Obi, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Ashley. Thank you for having me. I appreciate.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here. Obi's full bio is located in our show notes for listeners who are tuning in, but I would love to start off by giving you the opportunity to share more about who you are and what you do.
So thank you very much, Ashley. Again, I appreciate the opportunity. My name is Obi Ibeto. I am the founder, CEO of ShieldForce Corporation. ShieldForce is a cybersecurity company based in Boston, Massachusetts. We specialize in identifying the gaps and vulnerabilities that exist within the healthcare space. And we kind of like educate the home healthcare providers, community health centers, and the players in the space on what they need to do to plug in on those gaps and provide excellent patient safety. I've been in the industry for quite a while. I've been in the industry for about 15 years in the IT space. I originally started my career in the Microsoft Cloud Solutions ecosystem and grew from there, supporting clients across industry verticals on their digital transformation and their Microsoft Cloud journey, migration work, and Dynamics 365 implementation. So we bring a rich level of experience to cybersecurity because we understand the cloud story and we can properly educate the clients on what they need to do to keep the bad guys away.
Absolutely. And I'm curious to hear what inspired you to start your own business, to move away from working for Microsoft and working for yourself instead.
When I was very young, I think I was about 11 or 12, my dad gave me a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Right. So Rich Dad Poor Dad is an amazing book and it talks about four types of people, right? Employees, the self-employed, the business owners, and the investors. So I was like, okay, I want to be a business owner. How do I go about this? That's how my journey started. I knew I wanted to be a business owner. I wanted to help clients solve business problems. I knew I was going to be in sales and helping grow a company to deliver service that serves humanity and serves the community. And at the end of the day, I'm very, very passionate about people. I love helping people solve their problems. I think the money is just a reward, but most importantly, it's solving problems for people and for companies that drives my passion. And I'm the first child of a family of five. Being the first child, you have a lot of responsibilities as the first son. Everybody looks up to you for guidance. Everybody looks up to you in terms of academic accomplishments and, just taking the family name forward. We're very family oriented and having that kind of drive and ambition just made me very resilient to go into business and solve problems for small businesses across the United States.
Oh, I love that. And it also sounds like, too, that your specialty or what you focus on right now is within the healthcare industry. And so I'm interested in hearing what inspired you to hone in on that area specifically.
Thank you very much. When we first started Shield Force in December of 2023, we're kind of like trying to be everything to everybody, and I was like, it's a serious problem because you can't be everything to everybody, so we kind
Mhm.
of like struggled in the market trying to find clients, messaging and that sort of thing. So I was having an amazing conversation with one of our strategic partners that has healthcare experience. And he was telling me about the home healthcare industry. They have IT budget issues, they have resource constraints, they don't have an IT staff or cybersecurity staff. They're dealing with a lot of issues. They're small and they need cyber protection as well because they deal with a lot of patient records.
Mhm.
So I said, okay, why don't we start with the home healthcare industry? We have an aging population in the country. There are not enough beds, and these guys are all over the place. There are about 35,000 home healthcare providers in the United States. So it's kind of like a sweet spot for us in the market. And we can easily go in and meet the CEO or the COO without any bureaucratic channel, that sort of thing. And that's how we started the journey to be able to solve the pain points of the home healthcare providers. So the first thing we did was to go through the associations. So we're members of the Home Healthcare Alliance of Massachusetts. We started from there to educate the members and, kind of like help them solve their pain points, write blog content and scripts every other week, send out emails, and just, educate on what they need to do to stay ahead of, keep the patient safe and stay ahead of the cyber threats. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I mean, healthcare, especially in Massachusetts, is such a booming area that being able to support that industry and protect them is really important right now.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ashley. It's a serious problem, and they're having budget cuts down. But at the same time, I think the administration just passed a new rural transformation, $50 billion spend
Hmm.
across 5 years to for rural projects, rural hospitals that need EMRs, they need technology, they need training for the doctors. So it's a huge opportunity right now for the CDCs and home healthcare providers and community health centers across the country to take advantage through their states
Hmm.
of the $50 billion Rural Health Transformation Initiative launched by the administration.
Definitely. And speaking from a broader perspective, for any small business owner who's listening into this episode but hasn't quite thought about their cybersecurity measures to protect themselves, what are some like top level things that they should be thinking about?
For any small business owners, they have their resource constraints. So most of the time, cybersecurity is not top of mind. They're driven by revenues and just keeping the lights on. But
Hmm.
cybersecurity is extremely important because cybersecurity is one of the things that can wipe them out and kick them out of business very quickly. A few things that they should consider is having a trusted advisor, somebody to talk to them and, that has their genuine interest at heart, wants to educate, and just having those basics. For example, making sure that multi-factor authentication is up and running, having a disaster recovery plan, making sure that their data is being backed up, making sure that if they use Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace, they have an advanced email security service running on top of that and making sure they have cybersecurity awareness training for their employees
Hmm.
because human security is extremely important, right? You can make all the investments in all the technology and somebody just clicks on the wrong link, there you go. So education is very important, and that's what we do at ShieldForce. We try to educate small businesses and show them what they need to do to stay ahead of cyber threats and just keep their businesses safe.
Yes, absolutely. And one question I have for you, it might relate to cybersecurity, but one thing I see often is a company creating some type of account or an employee at a company creates some type of account that's tied to that employee's contact information. But then the employee leaves and now the company has no access to that account or whatever it was that they set up. I'd love to hear more about that from your perspective about, I guess, how companies can centralize all of their access and prevent former employees from accessing things that they no longer should be able to.
Yeah, that's a serious vulnerability and a gap right there that most businesses face. And sometimes they don't even keep track of employees that leave and the data that these employees have access to, and they can sit down for months. This access can go on for months within the organization. So just being able to have somebody have an extra eye and look at all the employees and the access that they have into the system is very important. And another thing that we see is while people are working in the organization, they send like proprietary information to their Gmail or their Hotmail. That's a serious issue as well because the employee is not supposed to be doing that. That's a breach of your employee agreement, but that's what happens,
Hmm.
possibly a disgruntled employee that wants to try to hit the organization back. That's what they do. Well, what we see can be done in that context is to have a proper cybersecurity policy, with an incident response plan. And that's how we can help businesses as well to mitigate against these types of risk. Another product that solves this problem is a feature in ShieldForce called the remote device wipe. So what happens is if an employee leaves the organization, the access is cut off immediately, and we wipe the device. Every corporate data on the employee's endpoint is wiped. The personal data still stays on the MacBook or the Surface or the HP laptop, but every company data is wiped out of the device, making sure the company data stays where it's supposed to be. And these are some of the things that small businesses really need to stay ahead of cyber threat. Human security, we always say, is the most effective. Most of the big organizations that get hit is not through a complicated hacking scheme. It's usually just an email compromise. It's something as simple as somebody having access to your emails and just monitoring how you pay your suppliers.
Hmm.
They hack into the CFO's email and they just watch how the organization moves money. Tons of organizations across their country are falling victim to business email compromise scams and phishing scam. It's the most effective business compromise hacking strategy in corporate America.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like one of those that I've seen a lot recently is someone sending an email looking for an RFP. And so the first time I saw that, I actually almost fell for it. And I feel like I'm pretty in tune with any type of phishing attempt, but that it almost seemed legit to me because it came from a legit client email. And so receiving this RFP, I was a little bit like confused at first, but realized it was fake. So I think you're right. I mean, just phishing attempts in any capacity have only seemed to increase throughout the past few months.
Yes, I totally agree with you, Ashley. And thank you for bringing that example up because it happened to us as well internally.
Hmm.
We had a situation where some guy called John sent an email for request for like 45 Microsoft Surface devices. And his email was sec.org, like Security and Exchange Commission, and we almost fell for
Yeah.
it. Because I mean, we do business with the government, right? So we were like super excited that we got an order from the government, but like it was a scam.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my, even a cybersecurity company can fall victim for a cyber scam. So these guys are so intelligent, guys, and there's AI now to
Yeah.
automate. It's so real. We can't even tell the difference between the real and the fake.
Seriously.
What saved us was that we had ShieldForce running on our Microsoft 365 environment. So
Hmm.
when the email came in from john@sec.org, the system automatically detected it and gave a reason why and placed the email in quarantine, and said this is not from the SEC. The SEC doesn't have a .org email extension. Every US government agency has a .gov extension, and it just
Yeah.
detected that email from the email and we're safe. But I fell for it. I'm going to be honest with you, Ashley. I fell for it, and it was like 45 grand or something like that. I would have paid the money. I would have. Oh no, I just can't imagine how many small businesses fall victim for these sort of things. It's a serious issue.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you're right about just being able to be vigilant and on top of detecting those things. And I'm glad that you brought up AI because that was one thing I was thinking about as well. Because I know you classify ShieldForce as an AI driven security solutions business. So I'm curious to hear about that part and how you use AI.
Beautiful. So in our product, a lot of task tends to be very repetitive, so the administrator or the head of IT or the IT manager needs to schedule a backup or run some sort of automation from time to time. Inside the product, we integrate with Copilot so they can generate a lot of scripts very quickly. The AI can help generate scripts for them instead of running a script physically all the time, every other week. We just automate it using Copilot, and that saves a ton of headache for the organization. Another way we use AI is in the EDR process, endpoint detection and response. Normally, to run that sort of operations, you need eyes on the screen, like engineers just monitoring the workloads and making sure that they're able to remediate the threats in real time. But AI now does that for us. We don't need eyes on the screen anymore. We don't need bodies on the screen. AI automatically remediates in real time and solves that problem. So those are the two major ways we use AI within ShieldForce to automate a lot of our processes.
Yeah, and I think being smart about how you're using it, like I love how you incorporate it and are intentional about how you use it, which I think is really great.
Yeah, yeah, sure, Ashley. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And what are some things small businesses can keep in mind when it comes to using AI for themselves, just with making sure that they're protected? Like if there's anything they should be aware of that AI can kind of make it easy for hackers or people to get access to their confidential information, anything like that.
So, what I would advise is try as much as possible not to divulge any personal information
Hmm.
within all these AI systems because we're still in the early days of AI.
Yeah.
There's some things that the AI companies have not figured out yet. For example, we don't expect any government agency to go all in on AI. It's not right for now. We need to understand the system needs to mature a little bit more so to get the to solve those problems that they're going through to have like credible information going in, that sort of thing, and the data privacy side of things as well. So what I would advise small businesses to kind of like step back a little bit and just use it for information gathering and knowledge education. It does a very good job in explaining concepts and differentiating concepts and giving examples and case studies, that sort of thing. But though, people are now using it for their life. People are going to meet AI to ask for the interpretation of their dreams. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the AI doesn't understand those sort of things. So we're still in the early days, so people should kind of like put guardrails around the kind of information they share with AI. Let's be very careful, guys. We're still in the early days of AI. 5, 6, 7 years down the line is going to be better.
Hmm.
But now let's be very careful with the kind of information we put into AI because it stores it, it processes it, and it feeds the same information to another person asking the same question. So you want to be extremely careful. Another thing is, just like we all have access to this AI, we can go to ChatGPT and pay a subscription. The hackers can go and pay a subscription as well.
Yeah.
Just like we have access to cloud computing with the large hyperscalers, the hackers have access to hyperscalers as well. They can put in a credit card and pay for compute. It's
Hmm.
available. They must have done the deed before they got detected, but they've done it already and they've compromised your business. So it's a fast-moving industry, and we have to be extremely careful. What I would advise, let's not put that much personal information inside of AI. Let's have some guardrails and just hope that the government will bring stronger regulations to regulate AI as well.
Yes, absolutely. And that's a really good reminder is for people to just be mindful about what they're sharing with AI and how they're using it because like you mentioned, all of that information can be stored and shared somewhere else. So making sure that you're not sharing anything that you wouldn't want made public or used elsewhere.
Yeah, like for example, I was using ChatGPT. I was so surprised to find out how much information ChatGPT knows about me.
Mm.
I'm like, I'm a small startup in Massachusetts. Like, it knows everything. Like, how you knew I was the CEO of ShieldForce based in Boston, focused on the home healthcare industry, working with the home. I mean, he knew everything I was doing. I was like, I didn't tell ChatGPT all this. How did they find this out? It was alarming. I was like, and they
Mhm.
were correct. It was correct.
Yeah. Yeah, and that reminds me too. I mean, it's a good reminder in that sense to be careful about what you share publicly elsewhere on the internet, since that's what helps to feed things like ChatGPT. It's like just be very mindful about what you share and where you share it and all of that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. And in this next year, what are some things that are top of mind for you in terms of cybersecurity that small businesses should be aware of? Whether it's trends you see coming up or potential problems that you see happening that they should be mindful of.
I think cyber is going from a need to have to compliance. Like,
Hmm.
small businesses need to comply with cyber. It's moving from, oh, let's just buy a bunch of software that we need to, it's not a business decision that you make while you're doing like project development, like software applications. You have to think about the cybersecurity implication of the software. Everything you do now has a cybersecurity implication. So we're seeing a lot of compliance requirements and even as a small business to grow, most especially if you're in the B2B space, the bigger companies will be asking you, are you SOC 2 compliant? You'll be like, okay, what's SOC 2 compliance? Why do I need it? And they can do business with you because you don't have a SOC 2 compliance certification. So these are some of the things. Compliance is going to be very heavy in 2026. And AI too is going to be extremely heavy. People are going to use AI. But one thing I wanted small businesses to know is gaining knowledge is a tremendous asset. We can't depend on AI models to help us gain knowledge. People don't want to sit down and read a book anymore. You know what I'm saying? They just go chat GPT and just, look for an easy way to do it. I think
Yeah.
we need to step back and say, guys, gaining knowledge is a tremendous asset as human beings. We can't depend on computers for everything. You know,
Yeah.
wisdom is profitable to direct, and by knowledge, the rooms are filled with precious and beautiful things. It's an asset to gain knowledge as a small business because you don't know what you don't know, right?
Very
So
true.
take advantage of the local library. We have an amazing library in Boston. Small businesses should take, there's a ton of resources at the Kirsten Business School, Business Center. Tons of resources small businesses can take advantage of. The SBA, they do an amazing job supporting small businesses. Let's take advantage of the resources to get our business from where we are to where we need to be.
Hmm.
Let's not totally depend on AI. There's a ton of resources available and in your local library. So let's go back to the basics and not totally depend on AI for everything. But from a cybersecurity perspective, I always say it's good to be brilliant on the basics. Your email security has to be up and running. Your disaster recovery capabilities, being able to recover in case of a ransomware, being able to have access to your data, keep an extra copy on the cloud, and cybersecurity awareness training is important for your employees.
Hmm.
It's much more important than any other tool you can get because your weakest link are the people that work for you and the knowledge that they have. You can make $1 million investment on cyber tools, and somebody clicks on the wrong link, you're done. So
Yes.
being brilliant on the basics is very important before all the fancy stuff that you want to do, and that's the simple advice I'll give to small businesses.
I love the education reminder, especially as cybersecurity threats continue to evolve and become more sophisticated. I feel like cybersecurity isn't something that's just like a one and done learning. I feel like it's something for businesses and their employees to constantly kind of keep tabs on.
Yes, Ashley. Yes, they constantly have to do that to, well, I'll be honest with you because we're in the field. We talk to small businesses all the time. They don't take cybersecurity seriously until something bad happens. You know,
Yeah.
most of the time they don't take it seriously. Like, no, we don't need this. No, we don't need it. We're okay. Well, I mean, they probably just have an antivirus and they think that's a cybersecurity strategy. An
Hmm.
antivirus is not a cybersecurity strategy. It's just a tool that solves just a single problem. There are other problems that need to be solved, right? So, we're in the field and we listen to small businesses all the time. We educate them. We do free assessments for them to help them identify the gaps
Hmm.
that exist within the environment, and we try to show them the gaps, and they don't even take the gaps seriously. We're
Yes.
like, okay, guys, we've done a free assessment for you. We realize your clinicians use their personal devices to access patient records. That is wrong. We notice you guys don't have a cybersecurity awareness training strategy. That is wrong. We
Yep.
notice you don't have multi-factor authentication across your devices. That is wrong. We notice your doctors are using their personal iPhones to access patient records. That's a breach of data privacy. So there are red flags all over the place, and they don't take it seriously.
Hmm.
So
Totally.
that's what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah.
Education, trying to educate the market. And we're like, guys, you don't want to wait till something bad happens until you take this thing seriously.
Hmm.
Why do you want to wait till when you have a breach and patient records are in the hands of these guys for you to take cleaning up your house seriously? So I mean, that's why Obi is here, and that's why ShieldForce is here. We won't stop educating the market.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And a fun question for you. I always love to ask our guests what their favorite local businesses are to support. So I'm curious to hear what yours might be.
We have a client in Medford called Family Rehab. It's a small clinic. It's a home health care. They do an amazing job supporting the elderly and the vulnerable in our communities. And when we were talking to them about what their cybersecurity strategies were, one thing you need to understand is that the healthcare space is a very busy space. Like the
Mhm.
hospital is so busy, things are happening, people moving up and down, emergencies, ambulances, every little. So it's a busy environment. To get the attention of the business decision maker, it's tough because they're very busy people. And these guys are scientists, right? I'm a
Yeah.
technologist. They're scientists. We have different brains, but they understand the gap, they understand the vulnerabilities, and they understand, oh, these things can actually wipe us out, take us out of business. So they take it seriously sometimes. So dealing with this client of ours was very interesting. Her name is Flora, an amazing friend of ours, because we always build relationships with our clients. Amazing lady, and she's like, Obi, I think we need ShieldForce in our home healthcare agency. We really need ShieldForce because I mean we're not doing so much, and we feel like with ShieldForce is going to help us meet our HIPAA compliance and some of the requirements we need to meet from a cybersecurity perspective. And it was an amazing journey with her, and they're happy using ShieldForce, and they're buying more computers, hiring more people, and for every computer they buy, they have to install ShieldForce on it to give them the necessary protection that they need to stay ahead of the cyber attacks.
Amazing. I love it. Obi, this has been such a good episode, and I've so enjoyed having you on the show to share everything you're doing at Shield Force. And I'd love to have you share with our listeners where they can find you online in case they'd like to connect.
So you can find me on LinkedIn, Obi Ibeto, or you can search ShieldForce Corporation. We have a dedicated LinkedIn page. I'm heavy on LinkedIn. We do a lot of education on LinkedIn every other week. We're always posting articles. And also you can go on our website, shieldforce.io. On the resources page, we have a blog. We have over 50 interesting articles for free on cyber. Also, we do free assessments all the times for small businesses. And we just launched, we're going to be 250 this year in the United States. So we launched a dedicated Shield Force small business package for all this lovely small businesses across the country at 50% discount,
Mhm.
right? So we're offering the full bundle for 50% because we're 250 years old in the country. So, and it's a way to give back to the amazing small businesses to support the engine of the economy and just contribute to our community and the society.
Awesome. Obi, this has been such a good episode. Thank you so much for your time. I'll include the links in the show notes where our listeners can find you. But I really appreciate you sharing your expertise and insights on all things cybersecurity.
Thank you very much for having me, Ashley. I sincerely appreciate you. Thank you for the amazing work you do, supporting small businesses and being a champion. Thank you so much.